My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, and that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. When I was studying in Rome, I lived away from my home country for a long time, many years. And I experienced what many people experience when they move abroad, which was the separation, the physical separation from my family, from my parents, from my siblings, my grandparents. And naturally, it was very hard. I remember at one point my grandfather died while I was away, and that was difficult to not be able to say goodbye to him or to be there in those moments. Of course, I knew that I was where God wanted me to be, and I was joyfully offering up that sacrifice. But in general, in that situation of physical separation, you miss your loved ones and you want to see them. When I was abroad, this was before video calls were common, FaceTime and all that. And so I often found myself imagining the faces of my family members and trying to remember their faces. And sometimes I would even worry that I was forgetting faces, right? Forgetting what people looked like. The face is the window of the soul. And as human beings, we want to engage not just with the voice of someone on the phone, but their face. And we want to see them in person. We want to engage them face to face. It's such a powerful thing. I remember my parents were finally able to come to Rome to visit me in my third year there. And what a powerful day, what a powerful moment when I could see my parents for the first time face to face after 3 full years away. That separation, that longing, and then the reunion, right, of seeing someone again face to face. That's a helpful analogy to think of the spiritual life, because in a sense, we are wayfarers on our way to our homeland in heaven, and there is an inherent tension in our lives where we long to see your face, Jesus, but we live by faith. We obviously believe in God. We love him. We love God as our Father in heaven, but we don't see him. And we can't see him, at least not physically. There's a very famous psalm, Psalm 42, that says, "My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and see the face of God?" And that's the sentiment we hear in today's gospel, where we're confronted with a scene from the upper room where Jesus, you Jesus, are really saying goodbye to your disciples. You're giving them your final teaching there where you've instituted the Eucharist. And you say, "If you know me, you know my Father too. From this moment, you know him and have seen him." And in this moment, Philip, one of the 12 apostles, he pipes up and he asks a question which really we all instinctively ask, which is this: "Lord, let us see the Father, and then we shall be satisfied." Right? Because you, Jesus, has said that you know the Father and you have seen him. And Philip says, "I have not seen the Father. Show me the Father and I will be satisfied." We all have this same bug or this desire in us. Why can't I see God? When will I see God? I long to see God. to see the face of the love that I want, the one that I love. We wish instinctively that our faith could be satisfied with sight. We walk by faith and not by sight, and this is a tension. And so Philip asks the question that we all want to ask. Show us the Father, and that will be enough. And Jesus, you reply by saying, have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? To have seen me is to have seen the Father. So how can you say, let us see the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. That must have been very moving for Philip, because Jesus, more than a correction or a rebuttal, it's your invitation to Philip to look again. It's like you're telling Philip, Philip, look at me again. Look at this face that you've been seeing every day. Look at me standing here before you. What have you been looking at all this time? Have I not been showing you the Father from day one? Have you not experienced the Father's love? My love is the Father's love. Philip must have been very moved to hear this, and maybe also a little ashamed, because he had not picked up on this connection. The apostles sometimes missed out on the real face of Jesus. They were with him all the time, eating, sleeping, walking, working all together, but they weren't seeing him as he truly was, as the Son, as the face of the Father. You know, we can think of that moment of the Transfiguration when Peter, James, and John see the glorified face of Jesus on Mount Tabor. But, you know, that gospel scene ends by saying, suddenly when they looked around, they saw no one with them anymore, right? Moses and Elijah disappeared. And then it says, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus, right? The normal Jesus, the Jesus that they experienced every day. The human face of Jesus that has returned to its normal state, which is no longer glamorous or glorified. And this is a challenge for the apostles. They don't always see the Father in the Son. They don't always see God in the face of Jesus. In fact, they lose faith in you, Jesus. The very same Peter, who was so happy to have seen you glorified on Mount Tabor, is unwilling to climb Mount Calvary. He denies even knowing you, Jesus. I do not know the man. It's like he failed to recognize your face. Jesus, I don't want to forget your face. I don't want to lose sight of you. Help me to see you. He who sees me sees the Father. In order to see the Lord clearly, we need to stay close to him, to keep our faith in him burning bright. And this is only possible in prayer. And that's why we live our 10 minutes with Jesus. That's why we have this habit of prayer. St. Josemaria once told those of Opus Dei, my dear children, look at him, contemplate him, speak to him. We define our vocation to Opus Dei as contemplative, because we strive to see God in all earthly things, in people, in events, in big things and little things, in what pleases us and in what we regard as painful. Well, how are we making this ideal of St. Josemaria a reality in our lives? It's good for us to foster this hunger for God's face and to see him in the big things and little things of our lives, in what pleases us, in what we regard as painful or difficult, to see behind it the face of Jesus. This hunger to know him, to know his will, to love him, to love his will. And we discern this in prayer. It's in prayer that we are capable of recognizing the face of Jesus. Of course, we cannot see the face of God till we reach heaven, but we experience the foretaste of it more and more intensely at the rate of our contemplation, at the rate of our prayer, at the rate of our adoration of Jesus standing before us in the Eucharist, in the Blessed Sacrament. Behold the Lamb of God. Behold Jesus. Look at his face. We can ask Our Lady. Mother Mary is a face that reflects the face. The face of the mother is very much like the face of the Son. To see her is to see her Son, and to see her Son is to see the Father. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help in putting them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.